We imported our French Bulldog to the United States from the UAE, which is considered to be a high-risk rabies country.
In this video, we are going to give you a complete step-by-step guide on exactly which documents we needed to import our dog into the USA from a high-risk rabies country without using a pet relocator.
Big savings for you. Now, you may be located in a different high-risk rabies country such as South Africa, the Philippines, Qatar, Ukraine, or Lebanon, but this video will still be relevant to you no matter which exact high-risk rabies country you are located in, because you will need the same documentation to import your pet into the United States.
Make sure you watch this video all the way to the end, because pets can only enter through certain airports in the United States. So we'll give you all the tips and hard to find information to make sure that you got it easier than us.
We will also place important and helpful links in the description section, so make sure you check the description section for all of the important links. We are Larry and Charlie, the co-founders of the first holistic and natural pet health store in the Middle East. And before we get started, we just want to note that the rules and regulations change. So this is just a summary of what worked for us and our situation when traveling with our French Bulldog.
All right, before you book your trip, make sure that you watch this video from start to finish, because pets can only enter the USA through very certain airports, and also we want to make sure that you don't miss any important steps.
Yes. Again, we are giving you the complete step-by-step guide on exactly how we were able to do it, and without having to book a pet relocator, which is going to save you a lot of cash.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about all the import, export documentation that was actually done. This is one of the most important parts of the actual travel, because this was requirements to leave the country as well as importing MOCCAE into the United States. So we actually did all of the research for export and import ourselves, and we did not use a pet relocating agent.
And it wasn't actually that difficult to figure out which documents we needed to export MOCCAE out of the Dubai and import her into the US. So you can definitely do this research yourself if you feel comfortable. And the website that we used for our research, we will link them below as well. But they were mostly then cdc.gov and usda.gov for import into the US. Again, these links will be in the description section below.
Be sure to check that out.
Yeah.
Since the USA considers UAE to be a high-risk rabies country, we actually had to obtain additional documentation. And here we're actually going to go step by step through everything that's required to enter the United States for a dog over the age of 1.
And that is from any high-risk rabies country, not just the UAE.
Yeah. So first off, I just want to mention that if you go onto the CDC website with the list of high-risk rabies countries, there will actually be an alert that says something like the CDC is extending temporary suspension of dog importation from high-risk dog rabies countries. However, this does not mean that you cannot import your dog. It just means that you'll need additional documents to import your dog into the United States.
Which we'll cover now, because we had to do the same exact thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, so all pets have to be registered and microchipped to be able to travel. This is
mandatory.
For all pets, yes. They also must be up to date on their rabies vaccination.
So there were different certificates that we actually needed to get. Some of them took a few weeks and some of them took just a few days before we traveled. So we will start with the documents that took the longest time to obtain.
Yeah, so make sure you do these first. So here's what we needed for our dog Milka. Number 1, a serologic rabies titer test. Since, again, the UAE is considered a high-risk rabies country, we required a serologic titer test that shows our dog has sufficient antibodies for rabies. We got this serologic titer test done at a local vet clinic, and it takes about 7 to 14 days to actually receive the results. But personally, for us, it took 7 days, thankfully. And it did cost us around 1,300 dirhams. Which, by the way, that's the most expensive part of the whole import process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to find an approved laboratory anywhere in the world, you can actually check the CDC website. And if you don't see an approved laboratory in your city, you can check with your local vet. They will likely be able to send the blood work to an approved laboratory. And this may take a little bit longer, but this should definitely be possible. So make sure you check the link again in the description section to find more information about that. So after you do the serologic titer test, dogs actually need to wait 45 days from the date that their titer test is actually collected before they can enter into the United States. This is why this is extremely important that you get this done first if you're planning on traveling soon.
The titer tests are valid for entry into the US for 1 year, 365 days from the dates of collection. The second thing that we needed to obtain because we're importing a dog from a high-risk rabies country is the CDC Rabies Vaccination and Microchip record, aka Rabies Vaccination Certificate. So after we received our positive serologic titer test results, we went with that certificate to our vet and got the CDC Rabies Vaccination and Microchip record, which is actually just a PDF that we're going to link below as well. You print that out and that must be signed and stamped by your veterinarian. So just to be clear, we did not have to revaccinate Milka for rabies. We just had to get a certificate that confirms her last rabies vaccination. And again, we will link this PDF in the section below and you can download it from there. And just hand it off to your vet. This form is free. The form is free, so yay! The consultation with our vet to fill this out was like 250 dirhams.
Yeah. So the third thing that we actually needed to get for Milka was the CDC Dog Import Permit. And once we received the rabies serologic titer test and the rabies vaccination certificate, we were actually able to apply for the CDC Dog Import Permit. Now, you're gonna want to do this immediately after you receive the two rabies documents, because this document from the CDC website states that it can take up to 8 weeks to get an approval and receive the CDC import permit. So this is actually something to keep in mind when you are doing all of this paperwork, that this part can actually take up to 8 weeks.
Yeah, in our case, thankfully, once we applied for the CDC permit, we actually received the CDC import permit within only 2 days. So
yes,
we were so excited and like so happy about that because we wanted to travel ASAP. So yeah, the CDC import permit again is free. So yay, awesome.
So here's what you'll actually need when you apply for the CDC import permit. You'll actually need photographs. So you'll need to take 2 clear photographs of your dog's teeth and make sure that the photographs are recent and taken within 10 days of submitting your application. So you're gonna need the front view of the upper and lower teeth, a side view of the upper and lower teeth. You're gonna.
This is so weird, isn't it? Like, I still don't really understand why, but okay.
I think it makes sense, but just to verify, like, the same dog is arriving into the country. But anyway,
okay.
The CDC import permit, you're also going to need the rabies vaccination and microchip record, which was filled out by your vet. You're also going to need the serologic titer test from the approved laboratory, which you should have now, which we mentioned was the first thing you need. So lastly, you'll need a passport copy of the person who will import the pet into the United States. So the name on the passport needs to match the permit holder. So to be clear, you do not need to be a US citizen for this. I mention this because I did see a lot of confusion about not accepting foreign passports, but this is actually not the case. All right, so that's it. You have done everything you need to apply for the CDC import permit. And remember that this can take up to 8 weeks to receive. I did also join a Facebook group called the CDC Dog Import Help page, and there were people sharing lots of helpful information there. We actually have no affiliation with the page, but I did find it helpful. So
this group might be really interesting for you to join as well, to just get up-to-date information on how long the processing time is at the moment. Yeah.
It'll help you plan better.
Exactly.
So once you receive the CDC import permit, it will allow you to import your dog into one of the 18 USA airports.
You can check the list of approved airports in the description. All right, now you are almost there. Make sure to continue watching this video so that you do not miss a single important step in this import process. Now, one more document we actually needed to get was the FMD and Screwworm certificate. You do have to check if the country that your dog is currently located in is considered free from FMD, so foot and mouth disease, and screwworm. And to check this, just go to the link in the description below. The UAE is not considered free of these diseases, so we did have to get a veterinary check done to verify that our dog is free from these diseases.
This actually needed to be done within 5 days of arrival into the United States, so we actually got this done the day before we traveled. This is basically a letter from your veterinarian stating that your dog has been inspected and they are free from foot and mouth disease and they are free from screwworm. So I did not find a template online for this, so here's what our certificate looked like, and your veterinarian can use this as a guide if they're unsure what they're supposed to say on the document. So the cost of this certificate was actually 420 dirhams.
Now
that's all. That's it. That's everything that we needed to.
Nothing else.
That's all the documents that we needed to get MOCCAE here, exported and imported into the United States. So it sounds like a lot, but honestly, it's really not that much. And I can absolutely tell you that it is so worth it.
Yeah.
It is so worth it to have been able to travel with our dog here. Yeah.
Definitely worth the little bit of work that we put in.
Yeah.
So to recap, we successfully flew our 12-kilo French Bulldog inside the cabin from Dubai to New York with Air Canada, and all together, all the documentations and her flight, or adding her to our flight, we spent about 2,248 dirhams. Yeah, that's very specific.
That's the exact price that we paid. Because I know sometimes these are questions that people want to know, and I understand they want to know how much is it going to cost me exactly to do what we just did, and that's the exact cost. That's how much we paid to export MOCCAE from the UAE and import her into the United States with all the documents and adding her to our flight.
Yeah, and the Serologic Titer Test was the most expensive part, but it's valid for 1 year, so you could use it actually multiple times if you're traveling multiple times in 1 year.
Yeah.
If your dog is a little jet setter.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for watching. We hope that this video helps you in being able to travel with your dogs, and please do leave a comment below. Let us know where you guys are traveling to and how everything has worked out. We'd love to know.
And if you have any questions about our travel with MOCCAE, also let us know and we'll speak about them in the comment section. And if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to our channel for more videos just like this. We wish you guys a much safe travels. See ya.
Safe travels.
Bye.
Bye.